this work is all about is actually making constructions, and I've used aeroply, which is a pattern making material. Really, it's usually made for making models and aircraft, but I've used it to make sculptures by laminating sections of it together. So two thicknesses held together with super glue make a very rigid structure, which I can then build into shapes. And you can see that those shapes can actually become quite complex. Each of these is just laminated plywood. You can see that it takes on quite a lot of structural strength. The shapes that it's formed around are offcuts off the workshop floor from other jobs, and I've let them completely lead the shape wherever it wants to go, simply by joining them together into this kind of matrix. It's very surprising what happens. It's something that's been done plenty of times before. Of course, the steel sculptors of the 80s and 90s were making things out of scrap and junk the whole time. That was the period when I was at art school, so I was very influenced by those people. But I never liked steel very much, to be honest. I much prefer wood. I can build these things very, very quickly. And a lot of the small ones, for instance this one, this is called Sketch of a Thing, and because that's what it is. And it's actually got the date it was made on it, because it was made in a day. So that's how quick and easy it is to make these things. So that's a wonderful material, and you see it's got a great sensitivity to it, which I love. So then the whole idea got completely out of control, and I started to use other found objects. This piece is nearly always broken every morning when I come to the workshop. It's completely uncontrollable, but I think it's a great thing, and I love the way that the very engineered plywood comes whistling through these wild shapes. I love it. But all these are just workshop sketches, because what I really wanted to do with these ideas was to make them more permanent and use this kind of technology to make a more permanent sculpture. These can't go outside. They constantly break, so I wanted to try and make them in a more permanent material. So I started to make them in bronze. Now clearly it's very expensive to make things out of bronze, especially if you have to make each individual component separately. So for instance this piece here, if I wanted to make this out of bronze, I would have to cast each of these individual sections separately and then join them together using a bronze band, and the cost of that would just be absolutely massive. So I've been working on a system, and this is what I was wanting to show you in the studio this year. I've tried to develop a system of using a few pre-made units which would fit together in any number of different ways. And these are the units that I designed. Here is the band unit, and here is the solid unit. These are both made of bronze. This is engineered phosphor bronze. This is a bronze, silicon bronze cast in my foundry, and these will fit together in any number of different ways to make as many patterns as you like. By working in this way, I can make an affordable bronze sculpture. Well, I think they're affordable anyway. And the result is this. I've worked out how it's going to be by making a wooden prototype, because as with my other pieces, wood is my chosen material. I find it easy to design in wood, and what I've done is I've simply made the same units in wood, and then I've simply started to put them together in random shapes. And this piece actually has no way up particularly. It could be that way up, it could be this way up. I let the elements dictate. Anyway, sooner or later, of course, I've got to make my mind up, and so this particular one is going to be this way up. But you can see that the base is a temporary arrangement, so you can always turn it over if you feel like it. I've then transferred this shape into bronze. This is the bronze version, used making the elements that we've just seen, and then it's got a very dark patination on it, which I think is a little bit unkind personally, so as soon as you've gone, I'm going to actually strip this off and make it a more interesting colour. But anyway, there it is for the time being, and again, of course, you could have it any way up that you like. And the great advantage of it being made in bronze is that it can go outside. That just fits in there with a little pin that goes in there. There we are. And that will last, like any bronze, it will last outside forever. And there is one outside in the garden for you to see, another finished one. It's even being rained on to demonstrate its indestructibility, and here in the garden it looks, it has a nice organic texture to it, despite being a very engineered thing.